Hi folks, Matt here from the Mountaineering company. I'm here in the beautiful Atlas Mountains of Morocco, and I thought I'd just have a brief chat about the items that you need to carry with you if you're going to go and do Jbel Toubkal in winter. So this is just a little bit of an overview of the things that you should carry in your backpack so that you've got yourself the right equipment and you understand what's needed. This is especially important for those that are booked onto our winter Toubkal trek so that you know what you need for summit day and what you need to have in your bag. Let's start off with, first of all, we want a bag. Now, my rucksack, I'm using here the Mountain Equipment Toubkal. Really like this pack, very simple, very little to go wrong, and also very, very easy to use with big gloves. So bearing in mind, you could be at 4,000 meters and it could be very, very cold, very windy. So you don't want to have to take your gloves off to start getting in and out of your pack. So I really like a simple pack, and the Toubkal for me ticks all the boxes, but any sort of pack with that sort of size, you know, 38, 40 litres would be more than sufficient. I've got my waterproofs. I've got a waterproof coat. Let me just put this on here so that I can use my hands. So I've got a waterproof coat, Gore-Tex jacket, stuff that in here as I go, and some Gore-Tex trousers. Might not need them for the rain, but you might want them for the windy conditions, you might want them for the cold, and they serve as a really, really good wind barrier. So if you're still feeling cold with all your layers on, sometimes a waterproof can be a good extra to have in your bag. Next up, we've got gloves. I mean, I could do a whole video for about an hour on gloves, and I wouldn't cover all the types of gloves that you need. But pretty much, we want a few different gloves in our bag. So in this instance, I've got some Gore-Tex waterproof smaller gloves. Now I use these for the walk from Imlil up to the refuge. Finds that sometimes it's raining, so it's nice to have some waterproof gloves because we're below that freezing level. But as soon as you get to about 3,000 metres where the refuge is, you're normally above the freezing level, so waterproof gloves are less essential. And I've got some much bigger, thicker, meatier winter gloves. These are some mountain gloves. I forget the name of these, but they're a thick winter glove. So you want something big and bulky. If we look at the weather forecast for tomorrow, we've got wind speeds of about 20 kilometres per hour. It's going to bring a wind chill of about -20. So small, thin gloves won't be suitable at all. And these gloves would be too thin, so just something that's a bit meatier, that's going to keep your hands nice and warm. It's perfect. I've also got a buff that I can put as a neck scarf. I can put that over my neck, but I can also pull it up and over my head so it protects the side of my face from UV and also cold winds as well. The winds can get very, very, very cold. While we're on that subject of protecting, you know, sort of the extremities and the neck and the head, I've also got a beanie. And I've got my sunglasses. For me, I'm going to be wearing like Cat 4 sunglasses for tomorrow, so some real strong UV glasses. And I've also got some goggles as well. I find the goggles are really useful, especially when the wind's blowing really strong. And these have got a Cat 4 UV protection as well, so they give a real good protection from the UV rays. Don't underestimate the sun, especially if you're from the UK and you're not used to seeing it so much, or if you're Irish or Scottish or Welsh, you know, if you're from any of those areas, you might be not quite so used to dealing with the sun. And the UV light here, it doesn't just come from down, it comes from upwards. So we need to make sure that we protect our eyes, because it can actually cause real bad problems with your vision and make your eyes very, very sore. And in worst cases, it can damage your eyes. So we want to try and avoid that. And then also on that subject, suntan lotion. I'm going to use factor 50, and when I use the factor 50, I apply it in the morning before I go for breakfast, so it has time to absorb into the skin. And I'm going to put factor 50 over everything that's going to be visible to the sun. So that's the neck, the ears, underneath the eyes, not the eyelids, you don't have to put it in your eye, but all over, you know, underneath your neck, all those sort of places. Inside, I put it around my nose, inside my nose, because the reflection of the UV can get very strong and cause you some burning, and yeah, not good for the skin. Great stuff. So if I just put those in my bag. So next up, Helmets. So if you're coming away with us, you'll need to wear a helmet. And anytime we're using our crampons and axe, basically, we're going to wear a helmet. An Nalgene or some sort of flask or a bottle to carry up, a litre. It would be more than sufficient for summit day, but about a litre of water. And then when we're trekking in, we normally bring one of those bigger bottles and stick it in our bag. So next up, jackets. So I go for a 2-jacket strategy. I don't necessarily mean I'll take all of these jackets out with me, but I'll go with 2 jackets for my trek, on my way here. So my first jacket is a thinner synthetic layer. This is a Camp Primaloft synthetic layer. Really like this jacket. I got it from Chamonix and found that it performs really well, and it just gives me enough heat for not just the walking if the walking is cold to the refuge, but also it gives me sufficient heat if I'm in the refuge and it's cold, because the refuges have fires, but sometimes it can be quite cold in the bedrooms and the toilets. So I find that jacket is brilliant for that. And being synthetic, if it gets a bit wet on the walking from sweat, or if it's raining, it still retains a lot of its heat. So I really like this layer. And the next one is the outer layer. So this is generally worn when it's really, really cold. So think about in the refuge at night when it gets really cold outside. If you want to enjoy looking at stars, or you want to, being in the bedrooms in the dorms is quite cold. So I find one of these big down jackets is really useful. I like down at this altitude because there's no moisture, there's no rain, there's nothing. So I really like a down jacket. Packs up small and gives really good heat properties as well. So I keep that in my bag, and I'll often wear this on summit day. So when I get to about 3,800 metres and we start to get in towards the shoulder before the Toubkal ridge towards the summit, it gets quite windy usually on there. So that's when I'm putting my bigger gloves on, if I haven't already, and I'm going to put my big jacket on over the top of everything to try and keep myself warm. So my boots, if I stand up, my boots are a B2 boot. You can get away with boots that are, as long as they're warm and they're sort of insulated boots. We've had a few people on these treks with boots like Rebel Lights. Great boot, but for the really cold climates, not so good. So it's good to get yourself something like a B2 boot or a B1 boot that's got sufficient insulation on there. And then crampons, I've just taken these off because it's icy on the approach, so I've had to put these on walking to here to film. But these are some C2 crampons. So if you're British, you'll be maybe aware of the crampon compatibility, but a C1 or a C2 crampon, providing it's compatible with your boot, will be the more than sufficient. We're generally only using the axe for a little bit of stability on the uphill side and to arrest a fall in case we have a slip. On our treks, we do a day of winter skills to make sure you're competent in crampons before we attempt the summit. But any sort of winter axe, providing it's the right size and good to use, as in, you don't really want one of those super lightweight skiing axes because sometimes they're quite short. You don't want one of the running axes, but just a general walking or mountaineering axe will be absolutely fine. A little curve is fine in it, but generally straight axed mountaineering axe will be fine. Straight shafted mountaineering axe. And last but not least, we've got walking poles. I love walking poles in the big mountains, so they're really good for the knees, good for stability, and good if you encounter some little ice patches along the walk into the refuge. So these are just some lightweight carbon, Black Diamond carbon Z poles. Love them. Yeah, really good. Nice and lightweight. Don't really notice you've got them. And then for summit day, I generally carry one walking pole. I leave the other one in my bag, but I do that for my clients in case they need poles on the descent. And then I use an axe in the other hand. So I've got a pole in one hand on the downhill side and I've got an axe in the other. And I find that's a real good mix for me for summit day. And it helps sort of give a bit more balance if it's a bit windy. You'll also need a torch as well. I'm going to do a separate video about torches because there's so many on the market. I thought it'd be good to do an extra video about that. But basically, any head torch that will attach to your helmet and has lumens of around about 500 to 600 lumens and a burn time of about 6 hours on medium power will be more than sufficient. So So if you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a like and share us with your friends and help us reach more people, and hopefully see you on one of our treks in the future.